Welcome back. Mike Kemp here in Austin, Texas, back at Yellow Jacket Stadium here for speed work. Now that I've been running for a few weeks since breaking my neck a few months ago, my neck is stable enough that we can do some speed work, which basically means once a week we like to go at a faster pace than you would traditionally be doing in the aerobic conditioning throughout the week. And it allows it to introduce to my legs, as well as my cardiovascular system, what it feels like to be running either one lap around the track, 400s, 800s. Natasha is the leader of the triathlon coaching community. We're going to introduce her after the workout this morning. We're in the off season now in the winter for Ironman training, which is actually good for my iron build to be putting in a bunch of base over the next few months to improve my conditioning. And you also see high rocks training, which they do here as well as they get ready for some races.
Friday morning. That's it. Workout today, the focus is power and speed. Okay, so it's not a lot of volume. It's a lot of top end in that we need to work into it because I don't want anyone walking away pulling something. You're gonna do a 400. It started at 5K speed. You're gonna do a 200 joggers recovery. So you'll find yourself over there. Then you're gonna do a 300. So the 300 is gonna line yourself up in the center over there. And then you're gonna do a 100 jog recovery. And then you're gonna finish with a 200. Okay, so it's a 400, 300, 200 as the working set, with the recovery being a 200, 100, 200. You here, grab water if you need some. You do a full 400 jog recovery, and you're gonna do 4 to 5 rounds of that. Okay, depending on where you're at. Okay, speed gets faster, so it's 5K, 3K, mile speed. Okay, let the form, like really good form and power, drive your speed versus worrying about your time. Just let it be.
Represent, gotta do it hella big, had to run it back again, get light it up. Represent, had to do it hella big, had to run it back again, light it up. Hella big. Light it up. Gotta do it. Light it up.
All right, guys, just finished the speed work. We're with Natasha Van Der Merwe. She is a good friend of mine and also the head coach for NVDM, also her initials for, I believe it's the second largest coaching community in the country?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah,
One of them.
so yeah, there's teams that just do kind of training plans and communities, and then there's coach teams where every athlete essentially has a coach that they're working with, and we're one of the largest in the world.
Amazing. Yeah, so I signed up for an Ironman last October, and we have a mutual friend, and he asked me at my gym, who's your coach or who are you planning to do with it? And I said, what do you mean? I'm just gonna lone wolf it and figure it out. And he's like, no, you don't want to do that. So
Yeah.
he put me in touch with you. I believe at that time you were in Nice for the World Championships.
I remember that phone call, yeah.
She got immediately on the phone from France, so automatically a green light of she was working with professionals. She's a former professional of 12 years,
Yeah.
triathlete herself, and a professional tennis player as well. So for her to call me immediately, that just meant a lot and made me feel pretty important, so thank you.
Awesome. Yeah.
And also, since I broke my neck, she was the first person to take me to my first church service where I gave my life to Jesus Christ. So yeah, you've become a great friend of mine.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that opportunity, for sure. So.
Amazing. Yeah, that's something for any of you guys who are interested in triathlon, just to think about. It can be so much more than just you accomplishing a feat, and I'd love you to talk about a little bit about that, because the community that I've built in the past year doing this has been the biggest surprise and the most pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I think Yeah, for us, that's what we try to really foster, is just this very encouraging, supportive environment, because you can only kind of lone wolf it. Did you say the word lone wolf it? For so long? For you to really have success in the sport, you have to do it for a long time. And so to really have a great network and great environment that you look forward to showing up to and being supported by over years, not just over months, I feel like is really important. And so I think a big part of our coaching company is we really try to have this holistic approach. Yes, we have these massive goals that we're trying to achieve, but there needs to be so much more to it for this to be sustainable over time.
Amazing. And one of the neat things too is we have other coaches showing up to these. Will Watson was here running, and I went to support him at Waco Half Ironman a few weeks ago, and he, out of 2,300, Natasha and I were there, and he won the whole race. So that's also something I noticed. My first week I showed up a year ago. Dre was leading the stretches, and you casually mentioned, oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, Dre won the Waco on the women's side last weekend. And it's just really neat, especially for beginners, to be able to see that people who are consistently showing up are able to do pretty big things over time, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, ideally you want to be in an environment that you can learn from and aspire to. You don't want to be the best person in your group. And so what's great is we have so many incredible athletes. But the cool thing is, like, they were not that 3 years ago. So everyone gets to follow suit and see that, okay, through our environment, through our training, this is what they were able to do. And I'm guessing it gives you kind of a lot of confidence in your path in the sport as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And finding the balance, one of the things you told me a few months ago was ego death was going to be one of the best things for me. And for somebody who's accomplished in other sports and other things in my career, to come to this completely beginner and not be seeing the paces that others were doing. You just said let go of that. There's no place for that, and that's really helped me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So
cool. The other thing, while we have Natasha here, I'm sure you guys will see on the video that I have some inefficiencies in the way that I'm running, obviously because of the injury. But I'd love we briefly talked before, if you could just mention for our viewers a few things that to keep your mind on when you're working on form.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a tough thing with Mike because a lot of his inefficiencies in the way he's running is honestly strictly due to his injuries. And so it's really me looking at what can we change in that, and it might be a case of trying different things and where will the body follow. One of the first things we do look at with an athlete is their posture, and I feel like that carries over into every sport. How is he holding his posture? How is he able to allow his body to move freely? Right now, as you can see, he kind of looks like he's really restricted. And ideally, we want like this freedom in movement. And so that's what we're gonna look at. Maybe with his arm swing, we're gonna try to start there, see if there can also be a little bit of rotation in his body as he runs. From down, like he's not overstriding, but there's definitely no real power and push off in his stride as well. And so we're basically with Mike gonna do a top-down approach, from posture to being able to relax in his movement to then try to follow it with a powerful stride as we go. So yeah, one of the first cues I give athletes is make sure your posture is at a point where your ears are above your shoulders, above your hips, so you're standing nice and tall. And then from that, we always hear about leaning forwards, and I try to cue my athletes to shift forwards by driving their elbows back. And so what Mike is happening right now is he's running with his arms side to side, so there's nothing really that's shifting him forwards. And so we're gonna work on having him drive his elbows back and then in turn shifting his chest forwards and a lean coming from that, and deriving some easy speed that way. And then the next thing is making sure that the body's kind of rotating, so that will lengthen basically the push-off and his stride length a little bit more, because right now his steps are a little bit restricted, but I think it is also coming because of how restricted his upper body is. But we're going to play around with it, see what the body's going to allow us to do. But he's already an incredible runner, so I have full faith that he can achieve a great result even if there are some inefficiencies there, and we're just going to make it work.
Thank you. It's funny, as you're saying the things, I can feel them in my body, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, I need to let go here, let go there. Natasha's also got an amazing following on Instagram, and so even if you're not an athlete here in Austin, would you say there's probably more athletes countrywide and worldwide.
Yeah, our group in Austin is only about 1/5 of our actual overall team. And then, yeah, we do put out a lot of free content. So if anyone doesn't have the capability to join our team but wants to learn from us, you know, our Instagram, my Instagram, we have a YouTube channel. There's so many podcasts where I pretty much freely give away like what we're doing in order to achieve the results we have. You know, I think the biggest part of why someone works with us is just that relationship and that accountability to a specific coach. But as far as the information of how to get there, it's out there. So.
Yeah, I learned so much. For me, swimming is my biggest weakness, and I learned so much just from watching all the videos you post on, rather than showing up to a session and me thinking about 100 things that I'm doing wrong. I might have written down 2 to 3 things, as you've mentioned, maybe even each lap, focus on 1 or 2 things, and you just, yeah, there's so much valuable information on our page, so you guys got to check it out.
Thank you.
Other than that, yeah, I'll be here every Wednesday for the next 5 months until we got Ironman Texas, and just great to have Natasha to confide in but also as a friend as well as a coach.
All right, we just finished speed work at the track. What I like to do on Wednesday mornings before I go for my swim is come straight over to the gym to focus on mobility and strength. Unfortunately, a lot of runners don't incorporate strength training into their program, and I think there's a lot of reasons that this helps. First and foremost is injury prevention. A lot of runners have muscle weakness, either in their glutes that ends up stemming to problems with their knees. Also, just if you think about running powerfully, whether that's up a hill, middle of a run, or maybe at the end of a marathon when you really need to increase your stride, being able to have some power in your legs from strength is really going to help with that. So today I want to go over different things that really help me as a runner to prevent injuries. I've been running consistently for a year and I've never had an injury due to any of that, and I think it's predominantly because of keeping my muscles strong and keeping my mobility. Big one for me is core. A lot of people underestimate the amount that you use your core in your torso for running, so I do a lot of core work. And then a big one is unilateral or isolateral work. Let's say, for example, instead of doing a squat under a bar, under both legs at the same time, maybe you'll use dumbbells and do single leg. The reason behind this is you spend 50% of your time on one leg at a time. And if you've had injuries in the past, even though your mind might be saying using 50-50 underneath a bar, you're more than likely going to be favoring one side. So this just really allows your leg, that single leg, to get used to doing the work just on that one side. So for me specifically, or athletes who've been injured, maximizing efficiency is so important over an Ironman that's going to take 10 hours or longer, because you don't want to be wasting valuable energy by moving your body incorrectly. And as she said, I'm doing it because of prior injuries or stiffness or being overprotective. In running and cycling, you're spending a lot of time bent over, which is having you hunch your shoulders and hunch your thoracic spine. And also on your lower side, you're using your quads, you're using a lot of your anterior side of your body. So what I like to focus on is things in the posterior, and today we're going to mostly be talking about open up the thoracic, which is going to allow you to be more balanced in your posture when you're running. So the first one I like to start every day doing, more of a stretch, is called a side-lying thoracic spine rotation. And this just really allows your thoracic to open up side to side. Then we also like to do a back extension. I like to do this over the top of a ball, just to allow a little bit more flexion. And then the final one is a single arm lift in prone, basically in the Superman position. This can be done either with one arm going over a cone or a ball, just to get some mobility in the upper back and thoracic, or also sometimes I hold a bar over me, and again, just improving, opening up that back that's going to assist me in cycling and running. So I hope this gives you some insight into things to pay attention to outside of the running, biking, swimming. Mobility work is just so big for injury prevention. Unfortunately, I watch a lot of runners battle injuries that aren't necessary if you can just put in the extra time. Natasha, I'll put her Instagram info beneath. It's just incredible to have people like that at your disposal. Of course, it depends on what you're willing to invest, but for me, including the coaching community has opened up so many doors for me, not only to have friends and people way ahead of me in the game to train with, but also just they hold me accountable. They're giving me plenty of advice on things that I don't know as a relatively beginner triathlete. Really excited next week. We have Nathan Chemnitz, who's a Marine and a hero who fought in the Battle of Fallujah with me. We'll be going for a run, and I'd love you guys to tune into that so you can hear about our background in the military and what it's allowed us to do in the rest of our career and life. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.